Football, Ronaldo leaves the team, I become Real Madrid's top card. Chapter 61. After sending Pere away. Lin Chen can also be regarded as having completed a matter of his heart, and then he can play football with peace of mind. As for endorsements, transfer contracts, or other minutiae, Pere can be left to run. For example, Lin Chen's contract is still a youth training contract signed with Castile. Although at the time of loan came to Schalke 04, the contract was renewed for another year. However, Lin Chen did not perform in the first team at that time, so he was only paid higher than most youth players. It can be regarded as Castile's attention to Lin Chen. And now, with his development in Schalke 04 getting better and better, wait for the time to return to Real Madrid. Will definitely get a good contract. After all, he doesn't have to spend a transfer fee. But if you want to get a good contract from Real Madrid, you have to rely on yourself to play in a tough battle. He is now at Schalke and has not yet played Bayern and Dort. While Lin Chen trained hard, the time also entered October. Schalke 04 also traveled away to face Lokomotiv Moscow. Without Lin Chen's play, Schalke 04 also played very hard, and launched a fierce physical confrontation with Lokomotiv Moscow at the RZD Stadium. At the end of a game, 5 players from both sides were yellow cards. It wasn't until the 88th minute that McKennie scored a killer goal. In the end, Schalke narrowly beat Lokomotiv Moscow 1-0 and took all 3 points away from home. In the same round of the Champions League, Real Madrid also came to Moscow. In contrast, Real Madrid did not win the match, losing 1-0 away to CSKA Moscow. A mistake by the 28-year-old German midfielder Kroos on a return pass directly contributed to CSKA a great goal-scoring opportunity. Vlasic fired a low shot into the net to help his team win. With this match, Real Madrid has gone 3 games without a win in all competitions, and Real Madrid has not scored a single goal in these 3 games. Starting with a 3-0 defeat to Sevilla, followed by a 0-0 tie with arch-rivals Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid and league chief Barca were also stretched by a full 4 points. After losing to CSKA Moscow, this is unacceptable for Real Madrid. After all, as the champions of the Champions League, Real Madrid has never suffered such humiliation in the past 2 years. Real Madrid fans are increasingly dissatisfied with the current situation of the team, and many fans have begun to miss the time when Cristiano Ronaldo was still in Real Madrid. Although some of Real Madrid's players have been liberated after Cristiano Ronaldo's departure, Bale, Benzema and Asensio have all performed well. But after encountering strong teams such as Sevilla and Atletico Madrid, the shortcomings of Real Madrid are revealed, and in the face of the onslaught of strong teams, Real Madrid simply cannot do an effective counterattack. Without Cristiano Ronaldo, Real Madrid is like a tiger without sharp teeth, looks strong, can bully a team with low strength, but becomes helpless when encountering opponents of the same level. Real Madrid fans can't help but wonder, who can carry the banner of attack like this? Of course, Real Madrid fans also have some sustenance, their own youth training. Still on loan at Schalke, Lin Chen, who killed all sides in the Bundesliga, is undoubtedly the most concerned by Real Madrid fans. 3 days after the end of the second round of the Champions League group stage, Schalke 04 also welcomed 7th round rivals Düsseldorf. Although Düsseldorf, who had just been promoted this season, is known as the weakest Bundesliga champion in recent years. But that doesn't mean they treat the Bundesliga journey as just a trip. Under the premise of limited funds, the team is also trying to strengthen as much as possible. And Düsseldorf's record this season is not bad, and he is also a difficult opponent. Facing a new round of league games, Schalke's players, who have just experienced European competition, are not very physically reserved. Tedesco can only hope for Lin Chen, who has experienced a week off-season. Lin Chen is also recuperated and ready to show his skills in the league. October 6, 6:30 p.m. The competition officially started. After the opening, Lin Chen began to run without hesitation, and Schalke 04 also used Lin Chen's ability to hold the ball to suppress Düsseldorf on the field. In the 16th minute, McKennie made a wonderful pass, Lin Chen snatched the penalty to score, and Schalke opened the scoring 1-0. In the 32nd minute, McKennie, Lin Chen once again had a spiritual connection, and Lin Chen seized the opportunity to score again. McKennie assisted twice, and Lin Chen also scored twice in less than half. In the second half, it was easy to fight again, and Schalke 04 still took the initiative on the field. In the 60th minute, Metuda played the ball, and Lin Chen scored another hat-trick. After Lin Chen came off the pitch, Dusseldorf grabbed a penalty opportunity in the closing stages. Henning scored from the penalty to help the team return a goal. In the end, the score remained at 1-3 to end the match, and Schalke 04 also won 7 consecutive league wins. Lin Chen, who completed the hat-trick again, naturally received most of the attention, and Schalke fans praised Lin Chen endlessly. In addition to Schalke's fans, Real Madrid fans in Spain are also very concerned about Lin Chen's performance. When you see that Lin Chen's total goals in the Bundesliga have come to a terrifying 22 goals. Many Real Madrid fans began to seriously study what position Lin Chen could play if he returned to Real Madrid. Have a body. You can kick the center of the pile and help the team fight back with the ball. There is ejaculation. You can play a spot-grabbing striker and help your team complete the final blow. There is a dribble. You can play in the front and help the team improve their ball control. There is speed. You can play as a winger and directly tear through the opponent's defense with speed. After some analysis, Real Madrid fans found that Lin Chen can play almost all positions in the front court, and he is simply an all-round striker. If Lin Chen returns to Real Madrid, coupled with Casemiro and Modric in midfield, Lin Chen must not eat cake until he vomits. Chapter 62. Schalke 04 has a 2-week adjustment period after 7 straight league wins. But Tedesco is not immersed in the joy of the team's winning streak, because they will face the Bundesliga giants Bayern Munich in the next round. This team, founded in 1900, at the beginning of its establishment, I am afraid that no one thought that Bayern would dominate the Bundesliga for half a century. In 1965, Bayern Munich played in the Bundesliga for the first time, directly finished third in the league, and won the German Cup in one fell swoop. From that year on, Bayern won the Bundesliga 27 times in the next half-century. The other Bundesliga teams combined have only 28 times, and even more frighteningly, the second most won Bundesliga teams are Borussia Dortmund and Borussia Mönchengladbach with only 5 titles. The biggest advantage came in December 13, when the Bundesliga giants were even 25 points ahead of second-placed Borussia Dortmund. In the Bundesliga, which has only played 34 rounds, this advantage is even more incredible. It was also from this year that Bayern have been winning the Bundesliga title back-to-back. There is an unshakable dominance of the Bundesliga for 5 years. The only thing that has changed is that the 18-19 season was a bit thrilling, and the rest of the years were uneventful. Perhaps Bayern fans will no longer doubt the exclusive rights of the team to the Bundesliga title, and every year they look forward to winning the title sooner and then moving their focus to the Champions League. Not only in Germany, but also in Europe, Bayern has a lot of glorious history. Bayern Munich has won the Champions League 6 times and the Club World Cup 4 times, and there are countless other lesser-known titles. Although Bayern Munich are now only second in the league, no team in the Bundesliga dares to underestimate this opponent. In the Schalke 04 tactical analysis room, Tedesco introduced Bayern's squad for this season. Although Bayern did not invest a penny in the transfer window this summer window, Bayern did acquire 2 95-year-old German internationals. Gnabry returned from Hoffenheim on loan and Goretzka joined on a free agent. The former improved significantly last season under Nagelsmann, with 10 goals and 7 assists in the Bundesliga. Not only that, but he has also been developed by the coach to play multi-position, and in Bayern's preseason, Coach Kovac even used him as a right back. The 23-year-old has played 5 seasons in the Bundesliga at Schalke 04 and sees himself as the number 8 as equally capable of playing in midfield. In addition to the addition of 2 fierce players, the strength of Bayern's own team cannot be underestimated. On the front line, there are Skarv Ribery, World Footballer of the Year Lewandowski, Erwa Müller, Dutch Old Flying Robin. Even Wagner, who has been sitting on the bench for a long time, is a veteran of fame for a long time. In midfield, even if Bayern sent Vidal to Barca before the start of the season, it is still full of talent. Ronaldo, Thiago, Goretzka, just hearing the name makes people feel a tingling in the scalp. If Bayern is only a midfielder, Tedesco may not be so worried. After all, with Lin Chen here, it is a big deal to fight against Bayern. But Bayern's backline is also very strong, central defenders Hummels, Boateng, fullbacks Alaba and Kimmich. No matter which one comes out alone, they are all players like the Iron Gate at the back. Goalkeeper Neuer is an old acquaintance of Schalke fans. In the analysis room, Schalke 04's players listened to Tedesco's analysis with a serious face. Seeing that the atmosphere of the team was so tense, Tedesco immediately put down the tactical board in his hand and pointed to Lin Chen and said, Bayern are strong, but it's not without a way to beat him. You just need to pass the ball to Lin Chen as much as possible and create opportunities for Lin Chen to shoot. I believe that the victory in this game must belong to us. When the players heard the head coach's words, they all looked back at Lin Chen. That's right. The Bundesliga goalscorer is now in our team. That's enough to throw off second-placed Lewandowski with more than a dozen goals. What's more, Bayern, who have just been hit by the international break, are not necessarily in better form than Schalke, who they have been repairing for 2 weeks. Thinking of this, Schalke 04's players regained their confidence. This battle for the top spot attracted a lot of media attention before the game. After all, no matter which league, this traditional hegemon and upstart is the focus battle. Although Schalke 04 is now temporarily in the league chief with a 2-point advantage, the stronger Bayern are more favorable. Chinese fans also made a prediction for this match. Even though most of them are Lin Chen's fans, in the face of Bundesliga hegemony Bayern, Chinese fans are not optimistic that Schalke 04 can win this game. After all, football is a team sport. Except for Lin Chen, the hard power of other players in Schalke 04 is much worse than Bayern. Soon it was October 22nd. Schalke 04 hosts Bayern Munich. In this battle for the top spot in the league, whoever wins is the top of the table. Chapter 63. On the day of the game. Huagua started live broadcasting early, and the game, which originally started at 6:30, began to broadcast live at 4 p.m. Xin Jian and Tao Jun were also commentators for this match. Looking at the starting list that had just been released, Xin Jian introduced all the fans one by one. Although it's just been through the international break, Bayern's starting lineup hasn't changed much. It can be seen that Kovacs also attaches great importance to this battle for the top spot. This is still a 433 formation. Bayern up front are Ribery, Lewandowski and Erwa Müller. In midfield are Cristiano Ronaldo, Thiago and Goretzka. Alaba, Hummels, Müller, Kimmich lined up at the back, and behind them were goalkeeper Neuer. It is a pity that due to previous injuries, French youngster Coman and defender Tolisso were also unable to play this game. Let's look at Schalke 04's starting list. In the face of the Bundesliga hegemony Bayern, Tedesco did not dare to raise it in this game, and directly put on a 3,421 iron barrel formation. 7 defenders are placed at the front of the box. The midfield is McKennie's partner Marquardt. The only single arrow is naturally our Lin Chen, and it can be seen that Tedesco has high hopes for Lin Chen. I hope that Lin Chen's game can continue the goal efficiency of the previous game. Of course, we also hope that this match will give the fans a wonderful matchup. With the hour hand pointing to 6:30. The competition also officially began. In the player tunnel, Lin Chen listened to the host of the field inside the Furton Stadium outside announcing the list of players. The Schalke 04 players naturally received the warmest cheers. But when the host read Neuer, there were boos in the stadium. It is undeniable that Neuer has indeed given Schalke fans an unforgettable memory. Although Schalke fans love Neuer deeply, Schalke fans have never understood Neuer's transfer to Bayern. They don't want a Schalke to go to Munich and can't accept Neuer into Bayern's arms. As the saying goes, how deep love is, how deep is hate. When Neuer joined Bayern, he became a traitor to Schalke 04, and all kinds of abuse and attacks followed. There is hate, there is naturally love. When Lin Chen walked out of the player tunnel, the entire stadium erupted with a roar like a landslide. The entire fans of the Velten Stadium were all shouting Lin Chen's name vigorously. At this time, everyone noticed that a giant typho was slowly rising from the north stand. The dark blue jersey fluttered in the wind, and one player ran forward with his left hand raised high, while his right hand stroked the team emblem on his chest. In addition, the words of number 36 Lin Chen were impressively printed on his chest. Phew. Lin Chen. Phew. Lin Chen. As the giant typho rises, the Vikings' war roars resound throughout the Velten Stadium. Seeing the next scene, Bayern's players stood on the pitch and gasped, this home atmosphere is no less than the Allianz Arena, or even better. What makes Bayern players most envious is nothing more than the protagonist of the giant typho, Lin Chen. It was hard for them to imagine that an 18-year-old Chinese player could receive such courtesy at the Velten Stadium. Of course, the most complicated of them is Neuer. Sport 5 now brings you the 8th round of the Bundesliga. Schalke 04 home to Bayern Munich top focus showdown. The one wearing the blue and white shirt is Schalke 04 and the red shirt is Bayern Munich. With the referee's whistle, the game officially began. After kicking off, Lin Chen's first pass was passed to McKennie. The players on both sides also opened up the formation. McKennie catches the ball and then kicks a long pass. Where is this ball going? It's Lin Chen. Lin Chen is running with all his strength to the landing point of the ball. Hummels and Jewel found the danger, and the two players wanted to pinch Lin Chen left and right. What? Lin Chen actually used his body to directly knock away Hummels and Jewel. The referee did not sound the whistle, but signaled that the attack was favorable. Keep playing. Lin Chen got the ball. Walking quickly to the restricted area. Neuer attack. Lin Chen was forced by Neuer and had to walk towards the edge of the box with the ball. Lin Chen has reached the edge of the small forbidden area, and there is no angle if he doesn't stand on his feet. Lin Chen suddenly got up and shot. Neuer didn't react in time, the ball streaked under Neuer's ribs. The ball goes into the net. The ball went in. 1-0. Just opened, Lin Chen opened the scoring for Schalke 04. When Lin Chen scored, some attentive fans found that the time had just passed 15 seconds. It's an opening blitz. After Lin Chen scored the goal, he directly ran back and hugged McKennie, who came to celebrate. Then McKennie put Lin Chen above his head and threw his fist at the fans in the stands to celebrate. In the Furton Stadium, which had just wanted to calm down, a violent cry broke out again. Chapter 64. Lin Chen scored on the first kick. No one predicted this before the game. Facing the powerful Bayern, Lin Chen chose to use his own way to help the team win this game. Tedesco was stunned, and so was Kovacs. What's the situation? Score the opening goal? Neuer fished the ball out of the net and kicked it into the center of the field a little angrily. The game starts again. Bayern's players quickly adjusted to form, and Bayern immediately quickly took advantage of the field with skillful pass and control play. Despite taking the lead, Schalke also played very hard against Bayern. McKennie and Rudy in midfield struggled to grab the ball from under each other's feet, and the team was forced to shrink to their own half to defend. For Bayern, Ribery on the left was very active, frequently launching raids on the left. But Tedesco is clear on defensive strategy. Ribery and Müller can be allowed to cut inside, but Bayern must not be allowed to cross from the bottom. Schalke's two defenders, Nerdo and Serif, also strictly followed the manager's requirements. Mainly because Lewandowski's header was too threatening, Tedesco had to abandon the wing to defend the midline. After 16 minutes of hard work, Schalke 04 had a chance to fight back and hit the team's second shot of the game. But this time the shot Marquette did not find a good angle to shoot, facing Hummels staring directly with an anti-aircraft cannon, kicking the ball towards the stands, and did not create a threat at all. Tedesco was a little dissatisfied with Marquette's handling of the ball, and loudly signaled the players on the sidelines to give the ball to Lin Chen as much as possible. Schalke fans also regretted that the shot was not a threat, but the fans were not worried. After all, with Bundesliga scorer Wang Lin Chen, as long as Lin Chen is given the opportunity, he will definitely be able to score. The game went on for 30 minutes, although the score was still 1-0. However, Schalke 04 not only lagged behind the opponent in possession, but also failed to play again, and currently only Lin Chen and Makwat's 2 shots on goal. The passivity and embarrassment on the scene can be seen, but anyway, the team still holds the lead. Probably because Schalke 04's players held on to Bayern's frantic attack after the opening. It is also possible that Bayern saw that several attacks failed to work and slowed down the pace of the game. This put Schalke's players at ease. Schalke 04's players also began to try to send the ball to the front court to help Lin Chen get the ball. But just when the fans thought that Schalke 04 was about to blow the horn of the counterattack, Bayern Munich suddenly broke the ball successfully. When McKennie wanted to give the ball to Lin Chen with a short pass, Thiago directly cut off McKennie's pass. Thiago then kicked the ball straight behind the defense, and Ribery quickly inserted the ball to get it. Since Schalke 04's players were in the process of switching between attack and defense, Ribery's forward insertion made Schalke's defense flawed. Caligiuri failed to intercept Ribery's underfoot advance in the first place. Dangerous. Schalke fans also noticed that for the first time Ribery was near a corner kick when no one was watching. Ribery completely tore through Schalke's defense, then crossed and kicked the ball in front of goal. At the landing point, Lewandowski also forced Nardo to score this header. 1-1. Bayern equalized. The source of all this was only because McKennie's pass near the center circle was intercepted by Thiago, and in just a few seconds, Bayern seized the opportunity to launch this attack. With such a mistake, Bayern scored and equalized the score. Bundesliga giants Bayern finally leaked his terrible fangs. In the live broadcast screen, Lewandowski and Ribery hugged together to celebrate, and then the camera was given to Lin Chen near the middle circle. The implications of this are self-evident. A showdown between the strongest center strikers in the Bundesliga. It is also a duel between the old king and the new upstart. Fans in China also noticed the director's lens language, but Chinese fans did not feel that the director intended to target Lin Chen, but thought that it was an appreciation for Lin Chen. After all, Lewandowski is a long-established player, and comparing the fledgling Lin Chen with him is undoubtedly an affirmation of Lin Chen's strength. After the kickoff again, Bayern went from strength to strength. Müller and Ribery continued to impact Schalke's defense, and in the face of another crazy attack, Schalke had to return to his own half to strengthen the defense. Lin Chen saw that the team was so difficult to defend, and he also frequently withdrew to catch the ball to help the team relieve the pressure. Perhaps Bayern felt convinced Schalke after scoring a goal, and the whole formation pressed very forward. When McKennie gave the ball to Lin Chen again, Müller did not come over to guard Lin Chen at the first time. This gave Lin Chen time to adjust his posture, and when Müller stepped forward, Lin Chen was already ready to take it forward to charge. At this time, Bayern's two central defenders realized that something was wrong and hurriedly stepped forward to defend Lin Chen. But Hummels and Müller did not dare to blindly kick out, and the head coach had told the two before the game that Lin Chen's dribbling skills were very good, and they should not rush to grab it. Therefore, the two just closed the door to Lin Chen and defended, wanting to squeeze Lin Chen out of the control of the ball. But what he didn't expect was that Lin Chen's physical fitness was too strong. Lin Chen faced the close defense of the two central defenders, and Lin Chen directly hit the two of them. Then Lin Chen burst into the box, faced Neuer, and directly hit the ball into the goal with a blast. The ball should sound into the net. 2-1. The score is overtaken again. Chapter 65. The pent-up emotions of Schalke fans at the Felten Stadium completely exploded at this moment. After Lin Chen scored the goal, he directly rushed out of the stadium and stood on the billboard with open arms to feel the shouts of the fans. This time, Bayern fans, who had their turn in the away fan zone, were silent. It's worthy of Lin Chen. Once again, it shows great speed. Hummels looks exceptionally bulky in front of Lin Chen. As long as you can create a little chance for him, he can take this opportunity to score the ball. In the live broadcast room of Sports Channel 5, Xinjian looked extremely excited, and his words of praise for Lin Chen were endless. In the comment area of the live broadcast room, Chinese fans also praised Lin Chen very much. Turn the tide and help the building to pour out. This is Lin Chen. There is only one king in the Bundesliga, and that is Lin Chen. 30-year-old Lewandowski stood on the court and looked at Lin Chen. His eyes were full of his own shadow back then. In the dugout, Bayern Bishop Kovac's eyes widened at this time, unable to believe the scene in front of him. It was such an opportunity that was not a chance, and it was all taken by Lin Chen and successfully scored a goal. 2 shots, 2 goals. Even at the peak, Lewandowski probably doesn't have such goal-scoring efficiency. Tedesco was not surprised at all when he saw Lin Chen rushing out. Tedesco already thought the goal had scored. No way. In Tedesco's mind, Lin Chen is so strong. The game continues. Bayern were clearly very dissatisfied with the overtaking of the score, and launched wave after wave of attacks. Except for Kovac, who kept 2 defenders, Hummels and Müller, at the back to defend Lin Chen, the other players were all piled up in Schalke's half. 39 minutes had passed, and Tedesco was not prepared to continue to launch a counterattack and let the players defend Bayern's attack with all their might. Bayern were also difficult to break through Schalke 04's defense for a while, and the offensive effect was also very ineffective. Time passed slowly, just towards the end of the first half. Ribery failed to pass the ball once and was cut off by defender Serif and kicked off the line. Corner kick. Bayern coach Mateo Kovac signaled for the players to press on and take advantage of the corner kick. Alaba sent a corner, but but unfortunately, the ball was headed over by Nardo at the front post, and Rudy quickly reacted to control the ball at his feet. Rudy immediately observed the situation on the field. At this time, most of Bayern's players were still in the box, and behind the back, Hummels and Müller were two central defenders. Lin Chen, on the other hand, did not participate in this corner kick defense, but kept swimming near the middle circle. Rudy also noticed this change, and after seeing Lin Chen's signal, he directly kicked the ball to Bayern's half with a long pass. But this kick is so powerful that the ball continues to fly more than 10 meters past the midfield line. Another over-the-top slap. But the landing point of this ball seems to be a little too far ahead. Can Lin Chen seize this opportunity? Just when the commentator doubted whether Lin Chen could seize this opportunity, Lin Chen directly crossed the Hummels, who was back to the defense, and rushed to the opponent's half. Although the latter reacted at the first time, it was still a little difficult for Hummels to compare with Lin Chen's speed. Lin Chen was full of speed at this time and got the ball before Bayern's defenders. Single knife. Lin Chen used his speed to directly throw off the Bayern players who were returning to defense. In the face of Neuer, what will Lin Chen choose? Perhaps due to habit, Neuer moved forward to prepare for the attack before Lin Chen touched the ball. Lin Chen looked at Neuer, who was rushing towards him, and directly accelerated in a change of direction. Neuer was also shaken by Lin Chen's sudden change of speed, and directly went down to the ground and opened his arms to intercept the shot. Neuer has already made a pounce. But Lin Chen doesn't seem to choose to hit the door directly. As the commentary says, after Lin Chen passed Neuer, he did not choose to hit the goal, but just shook a shot and then continued to dribble forward. At this time, Neuer, who had already gone to the ground, was already unable to intercept Lin Chen again. Lin Chen shook past Neuer. At this time, there is only an empty goal left in front of Lin Chen. Lin Chen did not have the slightest hesitation and directly pushed the ball into the goal. In the last moments of the first half, Lin Chen scored another goal. At the same time, Lin Chen also completed a hat-trick. In the face of the powerful Bayern, Lin Chen is not timid. And it continued the efficiency of the previous goal, and scored a hat-trick at just halftime. At halftime, Schalke was 2 goals ahead of Bayern. Schalke fans are already celebrating the goal. And in the away fan zone at the Felten Stadium, Bayern fans watch the score on the big screen. 3-1. 2 goals ahead at halftime. This makes Bayern fans very uncomfortable. When did they see Bayern being pressed and beaten like this? Bayern fans now even think that maybe it is normal to turn the score around. Chapter 66. Tedesco saw Lin Chen score again, and raised his arms high. Schalke's players also flocked to Lin Chen to celebrate the goal. Although Tedesco had high hopes for Lin Chen before the game, in the face of the powerful Bayern, Tedesco was not completely sure that he could win Bayern. The pre-match media was also not optimistic that Schalke 04 could win. Schalke's players are also a little skeptical of the manager's words. Can it really be done by Lin Chen? After all, that's the Bundesliga giants Bayern. But Lin Chen's performance greatly exceeded Tedesco's expectations. 2 goals ahead in less than halftime. At this moment, the emotions of the Schalke players were completely released. But at just halftime, Lin Chen scored a hat-trick again. Seeing the Bayern fans who fell behind in the score, their hearts were very bitter, and then they were even more shocked by Lin Chen's performance. A high school forward. Not only is his physical fitness perverted, his ability to grab points is outstanding, and even the speed is so fast. End of the first half. Bayern failed to score in the final minute. The final first half score was frozen at 3-1. Schalke 04 locker room. Tedesco praised Lin Chen without reservation. I can't imagine that you scored a hat-trick in just half-time. Originally, I thought it would be very difficult, but now the score is really unexpected. The players also called Lin Chen too powerful, and Rudy told the players about the goal he had just scored. In the end, I really passed the ball big, but I didn't expect Lin Chen to catch up. But Lin Chen's speed is too fast. I couldn't believe my eyes. In the face of the praise of the head coach and players, Lin Chen was not complacent. Because he knew Bayern could never just leave it at that. After the start of the second half. Shortly after the opening, Carvac adjusted his formation and replaced Boateng with Gretzka for Boateng. Carvac replaced a midfielder with a defender. What does that mean? Do you have to raise your hand and surrender? The commentary is a bit strange about Bayern's substitution options, but subsequent developments have verified that Kovac's substitution is correct. This substitution directly piled up 3 central defenders at the back. It directly restricts Lin Chen's breakthrough route, and can also cut off the passing route of Schalke players and Lin Chen. This frees up Alaba and Kimmich, 2 fullbacks, to break into the front more frequently to help the team attack. So a strange scene appeared on the field. Bayern's 3 centre-backs surrounded Lin Chen near the centre circle, with Hummels and Joller trailing behind, and Boateng close to Lin Chen. The trio seem to be in 2 worlds, with the Bayern players who are storming Schalke's goal up front. Chinese fans also laughed out loud after seeing it. What kind of treatment is this? So that the powerful Bayern had to sacrifice 3 players to defend Lin Chen. But Kovac's tactics did work, and Lin Chen became more and more difficult to get the ball on the field, and it was difficult to help the team relieve the pressure on defense. Under the onslaught of Bayern, Schalke's defense finally flawed. 75th minute. Thiago took the ball and turned it directly to the feet of Müller on the right. Against the menacing winger, Schalke's players were also reckless, and Shep and Nastasic stepped forward to defend. But Müller pretended to break through, dangled 2 Schalke players and went straight to the cross. The goal is Lewandowski. At this time, there are only Ronaldo and Salif in the penalty area, and Salif is still far from Lewandowski. Lewandowski seized the opportunity and headed straight ahead of Nardo and headed straight into the top left corner of the goal. Seeing this, Captain Fellman hurriedly wanted to lift it with one arm, but still did not touch the ball. Bayern's attack has finally paid off. Lewandowski's header was brilliant. In the Bayern dugout, Kovac also put his hanging heart down a little. Tedesco was a little entangled, and originally planned to replace Lin Chen with a defender to strengthen the defense later. But now Bayern scored another goal, which made Tedesco start to pay some uncertainty. If Lin Chen is replaced now, then the team will completely lose the ability to counterattack. On the field, Lin Chen also had some regrets that the ball could not be defended. But then it is also understandable, after all, in the face of Bayern, even if the top team comes, they dare not be fully sure that they can defend his attack. Seeing this, Lin Chen had to wait patiently for the opportunity. But Bayern's offensive is far from over, after all, the team is still 1 goal behind. In the 85th minute, Müller received another pass from Thiago, dangling directly past the bulky Ronaldo to score the ball. 3-3. Müller successfully equalized the game. Now it was Tedesco's turn to start getting nervous. Of course, Bayern Bishop Kovac has not completely put his mind down, after all, he does not want a draw. At the last moment, Bayern launched a crazy attack, and even the 3 defenders who were originally guarding Lin Chen began to gradually participate in the attack. Schalke's players also noticed the change and passed the ball directly to Lin Chen after McKennie cut off the ball. At this time, there was only one Jewel beside Lin Chen. Lin Chen started directly and wanted to pass Jewel with speed. Seeing this, Bayern felt bad and hurried back to chase Lin Chen. Just when Lin Chen fell into the defensive circle of the Bayern defender, Makwut directly accelerated on the wing and was already near the penalty area. Lin Chen also did not hesitate to give the ball directly to Markut. After the latter received the ball, only Neuer, who was left in front of him, and Markut directly kicked the goal. But fortunately he was single-handedly punched by Neuer. Just when the Bayern fans were breathing a sigh of relief, Lin Chen suddenly came out of the bag, and then shot vigorously. The ball should sound into the net. 4-3. 90 minutes. Lin Chen kills Bayern. Chapter 67. The ball is in. Lin Chen scored another goal against Neuer. This time, Lin Chen's pass to Mark Uth's ball and final shot was simply perfect. It's about to enter stoppage time. Bayern don't have any chance to overtake the score. Lin Chen completely killed the game. I believe that today, many Chinese fans have not stayed up in vain. Witnessed Lin Chen directly defeating the powerful Bayern. Let's celebrate Lin Chen's senior year again. Celebrate Schalke 04's victory over visiting Bayern Munich again. At the same time that Lin Chen scored the killer goal, the Furton Stadium was also completely in a carnival. Now there is only stoppage time left before the end of the game, and the game can basically be declared. After Lin Chen scored the goal, he faced countless fans who shouted their names hoarsely. Run straight to the north stand down a slippery kneel. Then Lin Chen stood up, took off his shirt directly, and raised his jersey with one hand to signal to the fans. All the cameras were pointed at Lin Chen, and the flashes of countless media reporters focused on Lin Chen. At this moment, Lin Chen is the new king of the Velten Stadium. Countless fans who are watching this Bundesliga focus match have known this Chinese young player. I don't know how many of you know that Lin Chen is a hero in Huaghua. This kind of heroic magnitude is unimaginable. It's hard to believe that such a player is from a weak football country in China. I believe that many people have thoroughly known Lin Chen in this game today. The official commentary of the Bundesliga is also very admiring for Lin Chen's play. Countless Lin Chen's fans posted on social media to commemorate this moment. I only knew that Lin Chen was very cruel to vegetables, but I didn't expect that I would still play steadily when I met Bayern. It's so exciting. In the Bundesliga, when have you ever seen a team that can beat Bayern Munich with a real gun? Handsome fried. In the end, Lin Chen's celebratory action really made people's blood boil. What made Lin Chen attract fans the most was naturally the picture of which stripping celebration. Of course, Lin Chen, who finally stripped to celebrate, also got the first yellow card warning in his life. The game starts again. When Bayern's players sent the ball out, the referee blew the end of the game whistle. Schalke 04 wins the battle for the top of the table. Once again, the Velting Stadium erupted into a fierce celebration. At this time, some fans even rushed into the stadium and wanted to hug Lin Chen, but fortunately they were stopped by the security personnel of the stadium. However, looking at the increasingly restless fans, the security personnel did not dare to be careless, and hurriedly signaled Schalke's players to enter the player tunnel. Post-match interview. Bayern coach Kovac was naturally rounded up by the media and asked the Croatian boss what he thought of today's result. Kovac, who was in an extremely bad mood, faced the reporters' questioning and reluctantly said such a thing to the camera. "I can only say that I am very unlucky. We were totally capable of winning the game, but the process was a bit unsatisfactory and we lost the game. Maybe we didn't lose to Schalke 04, but to Lin Chen." Lost to Lin Chen? Perhaps Kovac's statement is a bit exaggerated, but the role of Lin Chen, who staged his senior year, in this game is obvious. Without Lin Chen, Schalke 04 is likely to suffer a big defeat at home. At the same time, Tedesco naturally praised Lin Chen again. Later, Tedesco faced the media with some sighs. "If only we could buy out Lin Chen. If Lin Chen is there, the team is very sure to make a breakthrough in the Champions League." The media was a little surprised that Tedesco would have such an opinion of Lin Chen. Schalke 04's all-time best result was undoubtedly the beginning of the 10-11 season. That year, Schalke 04 brought in players such as Raul and Huntelaar, and the Shakhtar's team was even stronger. In this season's Champions League, Schalke 04 also successfully reached the last 8. And Tedesco actually thought that with Lin Chen, he would be able to reach the semifinals. After the game, the media have sent out reports and interviews about the match, and posted on social platforms to report on this Bundesliga focus match. Among them, the most eye-catching is naturally Lin Chen, who staged the Big Four. Face the mighty Bayern. Big Max in the Bundesliga. Lin Chen still maintains his terrifying goal efficiency. At this moment, Lin Chen was completely popular throughout the Bundesliga, and there was no fan who did not know Lin Chen. The city of Gelsenkirchen, where Schalke is located, is even more mad. Countless Main fans poured into the streets to celebrate the victory of this battle for the top. At this time, Schalke 04 is already 5 points ahead of Bayern. The next day. After a brief period of excitement, the Schalke 04 players calmed down and went into preparation. Because 3 days later, the team will face the third opponent of the Champions League group stage, Galatasaray. Although Galatasaray is only a team in the Turkish Super League, its strength cannot be underestimated. In the previous 2 matches, Galatasaray tied for first place in the group with 1 win and 1 draw with Schalke 04. It can be said that whoever wins this game will take the initiative in qualifying from the group. Galatasaray's home stadium is also the home of the Devils in the Turkish Super League, and Schalke's away stadium will definitely be affected. And Lin Chen can't play in the next game. Facing the game without Lin Chen, Schalke 04 had to fight with all his spirits. It's October 24th. Schalke 04 is also an expedition to Galatasaray. In addition to some players from the second team in the team's training base, only Lin Chen was training silently. Lin Chen checked the attribute points he had accumulated. Together with the 4 goals against Bayern Munich in the last game, 12 attribute points have been accumulated by this time. Lin Chen did not hesitate to directly add the attribute value to his physical strength. After playing the entire game several times, Lin Chen also found that his physical strength of 75 was a little inadequate. The last match against Bayern was because Bayern pressed Schalke the whole time. Lin Chen, who had been swimming in the middle circle, had the physical strength to carry out the final counterattack. If you want to fight against a strong team like Bayern, Lin Chen's 75 physical strength value naturally can't survive the end of the game. After adding points, Lin Chen glanced at the attribute value. Body, 100, Stamina, 87. Breakout, 50, Dribbling, 95. Shot, 70, Speed, 92. Defense, 30 foot. Now Lin Chen has been relatively good overall except for the relatively low breakthrough value. After finishing training in the afternoon, Lin Chen suddenly received a call from Pere. Pere told Lin Chen that he had received an invitation from Spain. And the inviter is Florentino. Chapter 68. An invitation from the president of Real Madrid. Perhaps Florentino pinched Lin Chen that there was no competition during this time, so he directly sent an invitation to Lin Chen. Lin Chen thought for a while, and then decided to go to Madrid with Pere. October 26th. After Lin Chen and Pere landed in Madrid, Real Madrid staff came to pick up the airport. Later, the two attended a banquet held in Florentino under the reception of the staff. Florentino obviously attached great importance to Lin Chen, and specially held a welcome party to welcome Lin Chen. At the banquet, Lin Chen also met coach Raúl and President Florentino again. After the banquet, Real Madrid Vice President Emilio personally found Lin Chen and Pere. I really can't imagine that the young man who was in Castile a few months ago will kill all sides in the Bundesliga today. Emilio is not too familiar with Lin Chen, and he was the one who ran Lin Chen on loan to Schalke 04. At the time, Emilio couldn't understand why Raúl was so fond of an 18-year-old youth graduate, even if Lin Chen was extremely brave in the second division at the time. Even if Bayern paid 1,000 euros and 40% of the transfer share at that time, they still refused to sell Lin Chen. Now when I saw Lin Chen was already the Bundesliga goalscorer king. 26 goals in 8 games. What kind of horror data at this time? Emilio was extremely glad that Raúl insisted on not selling Lin Chen's decision. Long time no see, Mr. Emilio. Lin Chen responded to Emilio with a smile. After a brief hello, Emilio cut straight to the chase. Lin Chen, are you willing to return to Real Madrid? Emilio's inquiry was full of caution. After all, Lin Chen is now only on a youth contract at Real Madrid. If Lin Chen is not willing to return to Real Madrid, there is a team that can take Lin Chen away at any time with a banknote. So now Lin Chen's attitude is crucial. Since I have agreed to President Florentino's invitation, I represent my attitude. As for when I will return, I want to wait until the winter window. Although there is a decision in the contract that I can recall at any time, I still want to play the full half of the season for Schalke 04. Lin Chen thought for a moment and then said. Emilio obviously did not expect Lin Chen to agree so quickly, and originally thought that there would be a heated discussion this time. It seems that Lin Chen still has a lot of feelings for Real Madrid. After the conversation with Emilio, Lin Chen directly arranged Pere to be responsible for specific contract matters. The next day, Pere approached Lin Chen and told him the details of the new contract. New, 800 euro, weekly salary, 15 euro. Signing fee, 10 million euros. This salary is still quite reasonable, and the signing fee is also very satisfactory to Pere. After all, Manchester City only gave a signing fee of 10 million euros last year in order to renew the team's ace player De Bruyne. In fact, with Lin Chen's current play, he can sign a new and higher contract, but because there is a big difference between the two parties in terms of contract years, he can only retreat in salary. For a player as stunning as Lin Chen, Real Madrid naturally hopes to be firmly bound. So Emilio opened his mouth to sign Lin Chen for 3 + 2 years at the beginning. 5 years? Pere was shocked when he heard this request. With Lin Chen's current potential, it is naturally impossible to sign this contract with Real Madrid. This kind of request Pere naturally could not agree, so Pere also directly signed a 1-year contract. In the end, the two sides pulled down and decided to sign a 2-year contract. Other aspects such as goals, championships, appearances, etc. are also a reasonable reward. The reason why Real Madrid can make such a big concession is inseparable from Real Madrid's recent results. Starting with their defeat to CSKA Moscow in the last round of the group stage, Real Madrid have suffered 2 consecutive league defeats. Even against a fish-belly team like Levante, Real Madrid still failed to win 1-2. The defeat would have been a disgrace for Real Madrid if it weren't for the goal of defender Marcelo. Combined with previous matches, Real Madrid have gone 492 consecutive minutes in all competitions without a goal. This has not happened since Real Madrid was founded in 1902. After losing Cristiano Ronaldo, Real Madrid's current forward problems have been solved urgently. Lin Chen was also satisfied after reading the contract and immediately signed a contract with Emilio. Since Lin Chen wanted to help Schalke 04 play this half-season, the two sides decided to wait until the winter window to officially announce it. After signing the contract, Pere sent Lin Chen to the airport, and Pere also wished Lin Chen a better performance in the Bundesliga. Lin Chen then returned directly to Schalke. By this time, Schalke 04 had completed the 3rd round of the Champions League group stage and returned from Turkey. But the final result was somewhat unsatisfactory. Schalke 04 seems to have Lin Chen's dependence, and the team will not play without Lin Chen. Although Schalke 04 took the initiative, he failed to play a single threatening attack throughout the game. In the end, Schalke 04 also drew 0-0 with Galatasaray, leaving the suspense of qualifying for the next stage of the group stage. 2 days after Lin Chen returned to the team, Schalke welcomed RB Leipzig, the opponent of the 9 rounds of the Bundesliga. At the same time, the system also prompted Lin Chen to get a new task. System mission: 9 consecutive wins, uncompleted. Chapter 69. If there is a rookie in the Bundesliga, it is undoubtedly RB Leipzig. This season is Red Bull's 3rd season in the Bundesliga, and Leipzig finished runners-up in the league the year before when they were promoted to the Bundesliga. Having finished just 6th last season, Red Bull must start in the 2nd round of Europa League qualifying. This means that they play 6 more official matches than other Bundesliga teams. Red Bull, which started the season exceptionally early, is also relatively mature in the team. Before Sunday's Schalke 04, RB Leipzig have already scored 12 goals at home this season. Leipzig only lost 4-1 to Borussia Dortmund in the first 8 rounds of the league, and the team is unbeaten in the last 6 games, with 5 wins and 1 draw, and the overall form is very hot. On top of that, last season's matchup is still fresh in my memory, with Schalke losing 3-1 away to Leipzig in January. Before the match, Leipzig manager Rangnick told the media, "It's a battle against top opponents, who are first in the league and are top in attack and defense. We have to create more chances than last time to win the game." October 28. 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Schalke's away game against RB Leipzig has officially begun. Sports 5 also introduces the starting lineup of both sides for fans. In this game, Schalke 04 still continued the previous 34-21 lineup, and Lin Chen played as a single arrow. Leipzig, due to the injury of Sweden international Forsberg. Leipzig had to change their line, with Timo Werner and Poulsen playing as 2 strikers. Shortly after the start of the match, Leipzig caught a mistake behind Schalke 04. Perhaps it was the intensive schedule that left Schalke's players a little out of form. A return pass from the back was intercepted by Timo Werner, who burst into the box to score the goal. Just in the 4th minute, Leipzig scored, much to everyone's surprise. The fans at the Red Bull Arena were also flustered. That's the goal? Schalke 04 was scored just like that? When the score on the big screen was 1-0, Leipzig fans then erupted into a fierce celebration. Rangnick couldn't believe that the advantage came so quickly. Facing Schalke, who won 8 consecutive league games, he originally thought it was a vicious battle. Tedesco frowned and looked at the players on the field. He also knows that the games have been too intensive lately and the players may experience some fatigue. But such low-level mistakes are absolutely intolerable. Concentrate. It's a game now. Not playing a training match. After shouting from the sidelines, Tedesco went straight back to the dugout and sat down. It seems to him that all the tactics that can be explained now have been explained. The exact result depends on the players. Kick off again. The Schalke 04 players also realized that the other party was not a soft persimmon, and they also picked up their spirits to continue the game. 7th minute. Zelda snatched a pass from Leipzig midfielder Sabitzer before knocking it on McNee. At the same time, Lin Chen immediately turned around and ran forward. Pass. McNee did not hesitate when he heard this, and directly kicked the ball directly to Lin Chen's feet. Leipzig's players also found danger, and the back Ilsank approached Lin Chen for the first time. Although Lin Chen's physical fitness was not famous for his toughness before, the Austrian veteran is also known for his strong physical fitness. Therefore, Ilsank did not wait for his teammates to defend Lin Chen according to the coach's instructions. As soon as he arrived at Lin Chen's side, Ilsank wanted to directly use his body to knock Lin Chen away. But unexpectedly, Lin Chen only swayed a little and then continued to dribble forward. Ilsank came up and collided with Lin Chen's real knife and real gun. But it seems that Lin Chen has not been affected in the slightest, but Ilsank is a little unstable. Didn't Leipzig's head coach lay out tactics before the game? It's really a fool's dream to fight with Lin Chen's body. After getting rid of Ilsank, Leipzig's two defenders, Juppe and Halsenberg, appeared in front of Lin Chen. By this time, Makwut and Embolo had plugged in at high speed from both sides. Lin Chen observed the form and passed the ball diagonally to Makwut before facing the back line. After the latter received the ball, he swung left and right to try to break into the box from the touchline. Juppe also rushed to assist with Halsenberg in the defensive marquette. Right at this moment, Marquardt suddenly kicked the ball to Lin Chen at the top of the arc of the penalty area. At this point, Juppe and Halsenberg on the right were far away from Lin Chen, while another centre-back Whaley was attracted by Embolo's breakthrough into the box. Big holes appeared in Leipzig's defences. The first time Lin Chen received the ball, Ilsank discovered this problem. But at this time, Ilsank was still behind Lin Chen, and he was about to speed up after seeing Lin Chen catch the ball. Ilsank couldn't hesitate anymore, and flew the ball directly behind Lin Chen. Because he was making a tackle from behind, Lin Chen did not notice this action for the first time. So when Ilsank's right foot tackled to Lin Chen's feet, Lin Chen was in a state of forward speed. The fast-moving feet collided with Ilsank's right foot. Oh my god. Shovel people from behind. This is a dangerous move. After a huge force struck, Lin Chen's body instantly lost his balance. The fans of the Red Ball Arena also noticed this action and exclaimed in unison. On the sidelines, after seeing Ilsank's intentions, Tedesco immediately roared and rushed to the sidelines to signal the referee, which was a bad foul move. But Tedesco immediately saw that Lin Chen, who had stumbled and wanted to fall to the ground, regained his balance. On the other hand, Ilsank, who shoveled people, was lying on the ground, holding his feet and wailing. What is the situation? Shoveled himself? Without doubt, at this time, the referee directly signaled with both arms forward to signal that the attack was favorable and continued the game. Lin Chen in the sudden penalty area did not hesitate to face goalkeeper Jurasic, and directly slammed the door vigorously. 1-1. Lin Chen equalized the score. Only then did everyone have time to notice the painful Ilsank lying on the ground. Stretcher. Leipzig's captain Willi discovered that Ilsank had injured himself and hurriedly called the paramedics to carry Ilsank down. After some examination, the paramedics determined that Ilsank could not continue the game. This made Rangnick difficult all at once. It was equalized just after the lead, and now lost a main back. Rangnick was forced to use up a substitution, replacing Ilsank with Klosterman. Chapter 70. When I saw Ilsank get injured, everyone was stunned. What is this? Shoveled people themselves and shoveled themselves? In the stands, Red Bull fans were a little uncomfortable with this result, and their main back was injured just after the opening game. At this time, the Sports 5 live broadcast room. Lin Chen's physical fitness. It's amazing. Looking back from slow motion, Ilsank's right foot and Lin Chen's left foot collided together. However, Lin Chen only stumbled slightly, while Ilsank's right foot seemed to kick into a wall. It's really impossible to steal chickens, but throw rice, and Ilsank eventually left injured. Chinese fans were also shocked by this scene. What's the situation? The Leipzig players have shoveled themselves? Lin Chen is like a robot, completely unaffected. Iron Man. The body is really too strong. Tedesco, who was originally roaring at the referee, suddenly shut up when he saw this scene. After seeing Ilsank go off the field, Tedesco also specifically asked Lin Chen if he was injured. The answer, of course, is no. The game starts again. Since Lin Chen scored this goal, he has become more and more courageous. Leipzig's players began to have some lack of confidence in the face of Lin Chen, and they were constantly broken through from the front by Lin Chen. In the 35th minute, McKennie again passed a straight ball to Lin Chen. Lin Chen then deceived the goalkeeper with a spoonful shot. But by the end of the first half, Lin Chen had already scored twice. When the referee blew the closing whistle of the first half, the mood of the players on both sides was clearly different. Schalke 04's players returned to the dressing room with a smile and laughter, while Leipzig, who were playing at home, were sad. Intermission. Tedesco asked Lin Chen if he wanted to play the whole game. Now it seems that Leipzig has completely lost its resistance. Lin Chen thought for a while, the current team is only one goal ahead, and the advantage is not too big. And he still had a task of winning 9 in a row, and Lin Chen immediately decided to play the whole game. The Leipzig dressing room was bleak. Rangnick had just learned from the team doctor that Ilsank had twisted his ankle and could be out for about 2 weeks. This is very bad news for Leipzig, who are still playing in the Champions League. And the most important thing at present is how the team should play in the second half in the face of Lin Chen's rush. The second half started quickly. In order to limit Lin Chen, Rangnick directly pulled the replaced Kroos down the backline. The entire formation also shrank to its own half, leaving only Timo Werner to play a counterattack in front. However, this did not stop Lin Chen from scoring goals. 50th minute. Taking advantage of the fact that Leipzig had just adjusted its formation and was not on a firm footing, Schalke 04 launched an attack. Rudy kicked a straight pass over the top and sent the ball precisely into the box. Lin Chen threw off the defender and slanted into the box from the right rib as fast as he could, before goalkeeper Gurasik attacked. With a direct kick, the ball streaked directly past goalkeeper Gurasik and crashed into the goal behind him. Lin Chen was also thrown to the ground by the attacking Gurasik, and after rolling around, when Lin Chen knelt on the grass, he happened to see the football dancing in the goal line. Another ball. Hat-trick. Just at the beginning, Lin Chen once again gave the backward Leipzig a fatal blow. On the pitch, the Leipzig players, who had just mustered up their morale and were ready to attack, were instantly defeated by this goal. Leipzig fans also began to fall silent, and they didn't even know how to play in order to win the game. In the 70th minute, Lin Chen scored with another header. Happy seniors! Have the Leipzig players completely lost the desire to play and just want to end this bad game as soon as possible? Rangnick looked at the Schalke 04 players who were celebrating, and sat back in the coach's dugout with some weakness. When Rangnick was captured on camera, the Leipzig boss's face was full of bitterness. Is Rangnick going to give up the game completely? In the face of Lin Chen, Leipzig did not come up with too good a way to limit him. Of course, Rangnick can't be blamed for this. After all, the powerful Bayern before this failed to stop Lin Chen's pace of goal-taking. Sports Channel 5, Shinjian couldn't help but ridicule when he saw Rangnick's expression. It wasn't until the 80th minute that Tedesco saw that the game was out of suspense. Directly replaced Lin Chen with Bergstaller and let him find the feeling of the game. In the end, Schalke 04 also relied on Lin Chen's goal to make it 4-1. After the game, a system prompt followed. System mission, 9 consecutive league wins, completed. Mission reward, 10 attribute values, get new attribute passes. Pass, 40. New attribute passing? Lin Chen sighed with some emotion. A center forward of his own even has the appearance of this attribute, is this to develop on the line of all-round striker? Looking at the accumulated 14 attribute values, Lin Chen directly added it to physical strength and speed. After all, even if you add the pass now, it is only 54 points, and the difference is not much. After adding points, the speed increased a little, and the stamina attribute directly reached a full 100 points. After the victory over Leipzig, Schalke's players did not slacken. Because the next Schalke 04 is going to have a derby. Dortmund.